Hello children, I am Rashmi Bode from the Great India School, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. I am back here again with the next lecture of the French Revolution. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the meeting of King Louis XVI with the King of Persia, declaration of the war in April 1792, national anthem of France, formation of the Jacobin Club, reign of terror, role of the women in the French Revolution, abolition of the slavery and the legacy of the French Revolution. So children, let's begin with the first point. Louis XVI met with the King of Persia. They started discussing that again they should gain the power back. The neighboring countries' king were also tensed because they thought the people of their own country will revolt as the people of France. So in April 1792, King Louis XVI declared the war against Persia and Austria. At this situation, thousands of men joined the army as it is the matter of their country. In the war, the patriotic song was sang. The popular song was Marseillaise, written by Roger de Esli. This song was first sang by the people who were going to Paris to join the army from Marseilles. So that's why the name of this song was Marseillaise. Now it is the national anthem of France. Due to the war, again the economy of the France declined. When all the men were busy in the war, the women were running and commanding the house. The middle class started forming their own political party. At that time, the political party was known as the club. So the famous club was the Jacobin Club. In this club, the poor peoples, cobblers, the small artists and the poor class peoples were there. And the leader was Maximilien Robespierre. The people of the Jacobin Club and their leader Maximilien Robespierre made King Louis XVI the responsible for all this worse situation created in the France. So they attacked the palace of the king, killed all the guards and arrested King Louis XVI and sent him to jail. Now as there was no king in the kingdom, again the elections were held in the France. At this time, all the men who were about 21 years were made to participate in the election. Again, the women were denied to participate in the election. So, the new assembly was formed that was known as Convention. 21st September 1792, the monarch rule came to an end and France became the Republic. 21st Jan, King Louis XVI was hanged to death in the front of the public, and after few times his wife was also killed. Now the government was of Jacobin Club and the leader was the head of the government was Maximilien Robespierre. The Jacobin government was very strict because Maximilien Robespierre now started playing the role of dictator. He was very cruel and strict, and those who do not support in the French Revolution, he used to guillotine them. This period was known as the Reign of Terror, which begins from 1793 to 1794. Guillotine is a device made by Dr. Guillotine. The two poles were there. In between a blade was fixed, and this is a hole where the victim head was kept and it was headed. During the Reign of Terror, the wages and the prices were fixed, bread and meat were rationed, the farmers has to sell their crops to the government at the fixed price. This period lasted for 11 months and Robespierre was the last to be guillotined. French men and women were now called the citizen. After the death of the Maximilien Robespierre, now the upper middle class got the power again. So the new constitution was framed, and according to this, only the person who has got their own property and house were eligible to vote or participate in the election. As there was no fixed ruler there, one of the military dictator Napoleon Bonaparte came to the power, and he ruled the France for few years. Women too played a very important role in the French Revolution. 60 women clubs were formed, the famous among them the Society of Revolutionary and Republic Women. At that time in France, only first state and second state women can get their education. The third state women were not allowed to receive any education. The third state women worked as a domestic servant in the two states. They used to sell flowers and vegetables. But the women of the France want the freedom of education and want the liberty, so they struggled. The new laws were framed. Now the women received the right of education. The new schools and colleges were made for all the three states. Women can get their education. Divorce was made legal. Now the women of the France can run their own business, and they can work as a artist or a writer also. During that time, France colonies were Guadeloupe, Saint-Domingue, Monarchy. From these three colonies, France got tobacco, sugar, coffee and indigo. The Europeans do not want to go to work in the Caribbean as a labor. Due to this, which created the shortage of labor, and triangular slave trade flourished. That is, the slave trade was done between the three countries, Europe, Africa and America. From all these three countries, the slaves were purchased and were handed to the chieftain, where the slaves were branded, packed, and after a long voyage of 3 months through the Atlantic, they reached to the Caribbean, where it was handed to the European plantation owners. This increased the demand of the slave, and the slave trade was flourished. But in 1846, slavery was abolished. The new idea came and the France became the democratic. The legacy of the French Revolution is that the ideas of the liberty and democratic rights were spread all over the country, and they created an example all around the world. The ideas was also adopted by the Indian revolutionaries such as Tipu Sultan and Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Children, hope you have understood the French Revolution. Revise all the lectures nicely.